Yo, what's good? Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports, and we have a loaded show coming your way. A new James Bradberry trade update as we take a glance at the latest Eagles trade rumors going into training camp, and the first official practice for the Birds in training camp officially a month from today. We're also going to have a conversation about Jalen Hurts because Lane Johnson said on the Rich Eisen show he's taken the next step in his development as a leader. First, I want to say thank you to all of the real ones who continue to support everything that we do here on Eagles Now. Yesterday, we surpassed 76,000 subscribers as we continue to be the largest independently run Eagles channel right here on YouTube. And on Monday, we showed you this graphic of the most subscribers picked up since June 1 for all of the teams that we cover here at Chat Sports in the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles now just dominating the competition. F the Cowboys, F the Giants, F the Commies. But since that date, we've continued this pursuit of really just an incredible run as far as subscribers picked up since June 1. Here's an updated look at the June sub battle on Wednesday. We're at nearly 900 new subscribers. Giants now had a big day yesterday. They've surpassed the Cowboys report, so the Cowboys report dropping to third place and the Commanders report, just like the division standings, in fourth place. And how about this? Under the Chat Sports umbrella, the most subscribers picked up for all NFL channels this month across the entire company. Philadelphia Eagles now number one at 884. Really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed, lock us in today for insightful, informative, entertaining Eagles content every single day that involves you, the fan. So going into training camp, James Bradberry looked at across the NFL as one of the more marquee trade candidates. It's understandable to see why a lot of teams are really light as far as depth at the cornerback position, and teams are always willing to take a chance on a player with pedigree and with the solid resume. And two new teams have popped up as potential trade destinations for the Eagles corner, who was a second-team All-Pro 2 years ago. We talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. But now we're going to shed some light on a potential Atlanta Falcons trade involving James Bradberry. The other week, we popped up this trade idea where the Eagles were to receive a sixth-round pick for Bradberry, and then the Jags get Bradberry because they're really hurting in that secondary. But now the Falcons are coming to the forefront as a potential destination here. You think about what they've done this offseason. Terry Fontenot, the general manager, they hire Raheem Morris as their head coach. They loaded up offensively, but they still have some holes on the defensive side of the football. I'm like you. I did not understand giving Kirk Cousins $100 million in guaranteed money and then taking Michael Penix. That's their problem to deal with, not ours, but our problem as Eagles fans. What is the future of Bradberry? Because the Eagles are really deep at that position, and can they get him off this roster? Because I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time to begin with. The Falcons' cornerback depth chart right now, they have A.J. Terrell as their cornerback 1, Clark Phillips as their CB2, and then D. Alford is their nickel corner. After that, there is not a lot of depth, star power, or overall talent in that Falcons corner room, which is why they could make sense as a suitor for a Bradberry deal. And the Falcons have some draft capital that could be of the Eagles' liking here. We're not talking about the Eagles, obviously, getting a high-round pick. But the Falcons have their own first, their own second, their own third, their own fourth, and their own fifth. They're not going to part ways with those draft picks and send them to Philadelphia. But because they have those picks, are they willing to deal a seventh-round pick to Philadelphia in exchange for Bradberry? They have their own. They have a pick via the Rams. So that's 7 total picks going into the 2025 draft as of right now for Atlanta. And those 2 seventh-rounders could appease Philadelphia in making a move. In 2022, Bradberry, second-team All-Pro. Eagles got him off the scrap heap from the New York Giants. He ended up being a terrific player. Him and Darius Slay, one of the best cornerback duos in the National Football League. But in 2023, the fall and the collapse, the decline in his play was precipitous. In 2022, you look at the Pro Football Focus grades to the left of your screen. Overall grade of 74.1. Coverage grade of 80.2. Passer rating of 54.2. He picked off 3 passes, and that came on 675 coverage snaps. But what has happened since then? Not good. Last year, and I get the defensive scheme was terrible, but he too was bad. Coverage, awareness, tackling. Had an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 56.6, coverage grade of 54.7. He allowed a passer rating when targeted of 108.6, only 1 pick, and the sample size very similar, 697 coverage snaps. So with all of that said, let's pop up today's poll question. It is this: will James Bradberry be traded before the start of the regular season? I want you to type T for traded or E for he's going to be on the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me know and share your thoughts with me down below in the comment section. Coming up next, we're only ramping up here on today's Eagles now. Lane Johnson applauding Jalen Hurts' leadership. Stay tuned for that conversation because I have a lot of thoughts on that, especially with some of the drama and people complaining about Hurts and how he answered the questions about the new Nick Sirianni. But first, I want to welcome a brand new sponsor here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. It is True Nutrition. Head to truenutrition.com/chat to see what I'm talking about here. For those of you who watch the show, you know that I take my health and my fitness very, very seriously. My running streak is well over 400 days, and now I'm doing full body workouts at a class and a gym here where I live, and I'm really starting to feel the benefits of that, and I can thank True Nutrition. Sports nutrition designed by you, and you can get 15% off when you use the code CHAT. If you're buying protein powder or other supplements, you should be concerned about the ingredients. I'm very picky about what ingredients I put into my body, and it's no secret that the supplement industry is not heavily regulated. And there are many products on the market that have fillers and even harmful chemicals in them. That's why I'm excited to talk about today's new sponsor, True Nutrition. Unlike most supplement brands that focus on marketing a product that is manufactured elsewhere, True Nutrition manufactures its own products while marketing takes a backseat. True Nutrition was formed to provide protein powders and supplements with absolutely zero fillers, no additives, no gluten, and most importantly, no BS. It can be incredibly difficult to find the right protein powder to match your body and fitness goals. That's why with True Nutrition, you can create your own fully customizable protein powder mix with the exact ingredients that you want on your activity, taste, and diet goals. What's more is that you can even see nutrition facts in real time as you create your mix. This truly is sports nutrition designed by you. And I love the customizable process that I'm able to use. I was on the website last week and I was able to get a brand new protein powder, which is absolutely delicious. I also like greens powders too because of the vitamins and the nutrients in them. I went with the True Flavor Strawberry Sorbet. I'm able to see all the ingredients right here on the back, the story behind True Nutrition, and I see all of this on the website. So the benefits of using True Nutrition, ready in minutes. It's fast. I'm a busy guy. You get pure ingredients. It's nutritious and delicious, accessible and affordable. And for a limited time, our listeners get 15% off your entire order when you use the code CHAT at checkout. That's 15% off your order at truenutrition.com with the promo code CHAT. Take the guesswork out of nutrition with True Nutrition today. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Also really like the creatine options that they have because I'm trying to get swole. Jalen Hurts, the leader. Let's talk about that here on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. Jalen Hurts a couple of weeks ago got slack from the media about how he handled questions about the new Nick Sirianni and him giving up his offensive system, and not really having a hand in the Eagles offense going into 2024. He is given fully the keys to new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. And when Hurts was asked about the new Sirianni, the way that he responded wasn't really a vote of confidence for his head coach. That came on the heels of what happened last year when the media asked Hurts, the franchise quarterback, the face of the organization, about whether or not he wants Sirianni back, and he said, I didn't even know that was a conversation. So you had Joe DeCamara, 94 WIP in Philadelphia, saying he did an awful job of answering those questions. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, maybe the most trusted source for Eagles reporting, reported on his podcast that the Eagles higher-ups were disappointed with how Jalen Hurts handled it. And then you had former Eagle quarterback and franchise great Ron Jaworski saying this week that he was disappointed in Jalen Hurts as well, and he loves him as a player, but needs to take strides as a leader. What's noteworthy here? And what do you notice as we put on our investigative hats? All of that is coming from people outside of the locker room. What we want to find out is what's the consensus from another team leader and another team captain. And this is what Lane Johnson had to say on the Rich Eisen show. You hear lots of stories. He's probably alluding to the story from a couple of weeks ago that we talked about on the show. He continued by saying, but I think just this offseason, he's really done a great job of bonding with his teammates. I felt like the connection has definitely grown. It's been a big offseason. The work ethic has never been the issue. Tremendous worker is Jalen Hurts, but just becoming a more vocal leader. I think whenever he speaks, guys listen up, and him reaching out to guys and creating those bonds this offseason. He's having these throwing sessions with receivers, getting work in. He's gone out of his way to connect with his teammates, and we feel that. That last part, we feel that. The team feels it, and this is good to hear. But remember, people lead in different ways, and Jalen Hurts is a unique individual. His father was a coach. So sometimes he doesn't really like expanding on his thoughts and answering questions from the media, and he goes about it in a short way that is very coach speak. Hurts is himself. I think he's somewhat authentic with who he is, but there are different types of leaders as well. And that's what we have to factor in here, both with the Philadelphia Eagles and then at your workplace and beyond. There are vocal leaders. There are silent leaders. There are rah-rah leaders. There are lead by example leaders. There are people who lead because when they see something, they say something. There are leaders who need more of a collaborative approach. There are motivating leaders. What is Jalen Hurts' leadership style? Or at least, what has it been so far the last couple of years since getting drafted in the second round by Philadelphia out of Oklahoma? He's very cool, calm, and collected. That's his personality. He's somewhat reserved and stoic. He's a flatliner. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. I think that's really important as a quarterback. You don't want a quarterback who's overly emotional, who at every turn is barking at his teammates. But sometimes as a quarterback, you need to be more visible. You need to be more heard. And I think that's what Lane Johnson was referring to here, because when the quarterback, as the Philadelphia Eagles are on this skid last year, which was historic at the end of the year, things are going poorly, things are snowballing, and the quarterback is just kind of in the corner not saying anything. Sometimes you need the quarterback to have everybody huddle around that Eagles logo in the locker room and get after his teammates, or to provide some motivational messages that aren't just Bible scriptures. And of course, Hurts is known for talking and going in detail about these Bible scriptures. That's great. But sometimes you need to lead in a variety of ways, and that is the realistic role of a quarterback or the face of the franchise. So imagine this, the CEO or the face of the company that you work for is looked at as the leader, but that leader is never around. You don't see that person. That can be an issue for a company, for a team, because the employees, or in this case, the teammates, are wondering, what are the expectations? What are expected of us? What's expected of me? And if things are snowballing, can somebody kick our ass into gear? It can't always come from the head coach. Sometimes it has to come from the leaders. And what can ease tension outside of the building? On top of this, as part of this conversation, it's Hurts maybe doing a better job. It's Hurts being more vocal, him taking on these leadership qualities, which Lane Johnson is referring to. Jalen Hurts can also silence the detractors and silence the doubters and silence those who think that he's not a good leader by playing well and rebounding from what was a bad end of the year last year. In 2022, led the team to the Super Bowl. He had nearly 400 all-purpose yards. He accounted for 4 touchdowns. He was terrific in that game. Somehow, some people still think that he stinks after he was dropping dimes in that game. He was the MVP of the Super Bowl, in my opinion, against the Kansas City Chiefs. That year, he finished runner-up for MVP. And you see those numbers to the left. Numbers to the right, very similar, but there was a decline in some of those numbers. And of note, running wasn't the same. The interceptions and turnovers went up. And then there were L's at the end of the year, which were ugly losses as well. Hurts plays well. Nobody's going to be talking about him as a leader. They play poorly. They're going to start talking and theorizing about Hurts no longer being the quarterback following 2024, and things can get ugly, especially in this city. What do you think before we hop on out of here? Will Jalen Hurts be better or will he be worse than last year? Type B for better or W for worse. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. What we're doing right now on Eagles Now is very, very special. We have a lot of competitive people here in the bullpen, in the office at Chat Sports. Some great hosts, some great channels. Eagles Now, #1 as far as subscribers picked up this month. And make sure you give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. A lot of short form content on those social media pages.